My colleagues call me a pick-me girl and spread rumors about me which greatly affected my self-image. I'm a 24-year-old flight attendant working for a certain Middle Eastern airline. I was lucky enough to get a visa to China, and let me tell you, those flights are the best. They're long, which means long layovers, and the passengers are just great. Any flight attendant would understand why we all love these routes. Because getting a visa can be a bit of a hassle, not many of my colleagues bother to get one. So only a few of us are always bidding for these China flights. One first officer in particular seems to love these routes as much as I do. He's always bidding for China, and I can't blame him. I find myself working with the same group of crew members, including the pilot and that first officer, pretty much every month. The first officer is a young, good-looking guy, and let me tell you, the ladies definitely notice him. One time, we were all sitting at the airport, waiting for our plane to arrive. We were going to take over from another crew who would then go on their layover until the next group arrived. While we waited, I was engrossed in playing games on my console. The first officer FO noticed me playing on my console and came over to chat. He asked me about the games I liked besides the one I was playing, and that's how our little friendship started to blossom. He would often sit close by to watch me play, and soon we started bringing our laptops to game in the lobby of our hotel. The internet there is really good, and since we usually have 2 to 3 days layover in Beijing, we had plenty of time to kill. After you've been to a place several times, there's not much left to explore. As we spent more time gaming and chatting, some of the ladies from the crew started to get curious about the nature of our relationship. They'd ask me questions about the first officer and what was going on between us. Last week, we were back in the lobby again, taking advantage of the good internet to play a certain popular 5-on-5 game. We sat across from each other in a 4-person booth. 2 ladies from the crew came over and joined us, one sitting next to me and the other next to the FO. They tried to engage us in conversation, but we were really focused on our game and didn't say much. Most of their questions were directed at the FO, but they'd throw some my way too. Eventually, after we both got knocked out of the game, I politely asked them to give us some space and come back to chat after our match was over. I told them it would be another 40 to 50 minutes or so. I even hinted that I might leave them to talk to the FO if they wanted. After I asked the ladies to give us some space, they seemed a bit taken aback, but eventually left us alone. Once our game was over, I told the FO that I was heading back to my room. He decided to leave too. I warned him that the girls might have their eyes on him. He chuckled and said, "Yeah, I better go ASAP." So we both headed back to our respective rooms. The next day was a bit awkward. All the girls were giving me the cold shoulder, and their tone was passive-aggressive whenever they spoke to me. It was clear they weren't too pleased about the previous day's events. Later, when we were in the lobby area after breakfast, someone brought out a selection of sweets and fruits. I opted for a sour apple and some other sour fruits. I tend to get pimples from sweets, so I usually go for the healthier, less sugary options. The FO commented on my choice of dessert, calling it a weird choice. That's when one of the ladies decided to make a sarcastic remark in front of the whole crew saying, "Yeah, that's because she's so special, so different. Not like us other girls." Another one rolled her eyes aggressively and nearly yelled, "Did he pick you already?" It was incredibly awkward, and I was so shocked by their comments that I can't even remember what happened next. Now, the women on the crew hardly talk to me at all. I've also heard rumors circulating that I'm sleeping with the FO, which is completely untrue. One of the male crew members even told me that the girls said I sent them away so I could take the FO to my room before they returned. Again, not true. All of this has made me dread going on my flights. Even though this route is really the best one for me in terms of work, I'm seriously considering requesting a route change. For days now, I felt like there's a knot in my stomach. I've been watching videos about pick-me girls, and I feel like crying all the time. At first, I tried not to let it get to me, but it has. I feel like I want to crawl out of my own skin and hide under my bed. I feel nauseous constantly. Update. Oh my god, you guys. This whole situation has blown up way more than I could have ever imagined. What started as a small issue has turned into a full-blown crisis. Someone pointed out that these women could potentially make up stories about me, like accusing me of stealing or other things that could get me into serious trouble. That really got me worried, so I decided to text the FO and ask him to call me as soon as possible. He was operating a flight at the time, but I told him there was an important matter we needed to discuss. When the FO called me back, I told him about the rumors that people were spreading, saying that we had slept together during a layover. He responded by saying he was already aware of it. and that he had taken care of the situation. I was puzzled and asked him to explain what he meant. He told me that he had written a letter to the management addressing the issue. In the letter, he pointed out that a certain crew member referring to me was being verbally harassed by their position on that flight. He mentioned that he had actually warned them about their behavior politely and privately, which I had no idea about. He also said that the captain had given him permission to address the issue on his behalf. As the harassment persisted, the FO discovered from 3 male crew members, including the cabin manager, and 1 flight deck member, the pilot in command, that each of them had been personally told by these women that he had slept with me during a layover that week. Not only was he upset that they were continuing to spread these rumors about me, but he was also personally offended by the slander. He was especially outraged that they would make such accusations during the holy month of Ramadan, a time that holds great significance for many. In response, he drafted a letter detailing the situation and had all the crew members and the pilot in command sign it. Even the captain put his stamp of approval on the letter, showing his support for addressing this serious issue. The FO explained to me that in the country where we're based, slandering a woman, and technically a man as well, but mainly a woman without 4 male witnesses, is considered a crime. That's why he made sure to gather signatures from all the male crew members who were present and aware of the situation. While he couldn't force them to testify on our behalf, having their signatures provided some level of evidence supporting our side of the story. He also pointed out that our company has a strict policy when it comes to criminal lawsuits. If any flight operating employees have a criminal lawsuit filed against them, not a civil lawsuit, their contracts are terminated immediately without any further notice. This added another layer of seriousness to the situation, highlighting the potential consequences for those spreading false rumors and accusations. In the letter, he made a strong request to the management. He asked that these crew members be prohibited from participating in international layovers for a period of 6 months. Instead, he suggested that they should be placed on standby duty. For those unfamiliar with standby, it means you're on call for 12 hours each day and could be called in for any flight at any time. But for them, he specified that they should only be assigned to domestic flights. On standby, you're also paid significantly less, which can be really tough to manage financially. Trust me, it's a difficult situation to be in. He went on to outline 3 options for the management: to comply with his request and impose the 6-month ban on international layovers for these crew members, to terminate their contracts immediately, to take no action, in which case he would proceed with filing a lawsuit leading to their contracts being terminated automatically. These options clearly laid out the severity of the situation and the consequences they would face if the management didn't take appropriate action. If he proceeds with filing a lawsuit, the people who started these false rumors about us might actually face up to 6 months in jail. After drafting the letter, he made sure to get signatures from all the men involved. He then made copies, sending one to each guy and another to the management. He held on to the original copy for safekeeping. He reassured me that the management would reach out to me after Eid, and when they do, I should confirm everything they ask. He also promised to send me a copy of the letter for my records. I'm beyond shocked and truly terrified. All I've done is my job and enjoyed some leisure time playing games. I never imagined I'd be caught up in something that could lead to someone losing their job or facing legal action. I had no clue just how seriously he would take this situation, maybe even too seriously. I'm absolutely stunned and terrified by all of this. I feel like my legs could give out any moment and I can't stop shaking. After the call ended, I was so overwhelmed that I ended up throwing up. When I asked him why he took such extreme measures, he explained that I might not fully understand the impact these rumors could have on our reputations. He emphasized that if these false stories were to reach the wrong people, the consequences could be even more severe than just damaging our reputations. He also added, "And they made you cry, it's not drastic enough." His words highlighted just how seriously he took the emotional toll this situation has had on me, and it's clear he wanted to make sure we were both protected from any further harm.